Welcome to the Health and Wellness Roundtable, where we have some of the best health and wellness professionals from around the world to give you the best conversations that are solely on their personal and professional point of view. I am your host, John Katsavos. Today we have Jacob Ark from You the Healer, Roman Zubov, who just popped in from Fruitarian Health,
Guys, nice to meet you
Marie
again.
Pierre Lucier from Empowered Health, and Shabnam Faltenbacher from the Heart Yoga Lab. Guys, welcome so much, and thank you for joining me today.
Hi.
Nice to join you.
Thanks,
So
John.
how's everybody doing today?
Really good, thanks. And you?
Amazing.
I'm
Doing fine. Hanging in there.
that's good. I'm actually tired. It's been a long week.
Saturday morning. Woohoo!
Yeah, Saturday mornings are great. So basically, guys, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going around. I'm going to be asking you guys a couple of questions, and I want to get your guys' point of view on the topics that this month we're going to be talking about. Rolling back and getting back to normal with and creating new routines for people and how you guys go about it. So we're going to start off with the first topic, which is going to be the best way for people to be getting back to quote unquote normal. So I'm going to be picking on one of you at a time, if that's okay.
Go for it.
So we're going to start off with let's start off with Jacob. So Jacob, what is normal to you?
Well, good question, John. I think normal is not what we have been living. For me, normal is a very complex question. I see a completely different future. So that would be normal for me, but not what we're living or what we're going through or what we have been living. I see sustainable, independent, healthy, happy people, connected with nature, with each other. So I think for me, that's normal. And I don't think we have been living that in the past couple of years. So I don't know. I don't know if your question is about going back. I don't want to go back. I want to go forward, and I think that's why this is happening, so we can go forward.
Awesome. What about you, Marie? What's normal to you?
Well, just building on what Jacob was just saying, for me, it's balance. Being able to find balance in your life so that your body's in a state of health and well-being, not just your body, but your mind as well. And so whatever that looks like, and everyone's normal will be a bit different because we're all individual. But I think what's really missing in all of our society right now, you just look at politics and everything else too, everything's very extreme. There seems to be very little in the middle. And so it's helping individuals find balance in their life so they can be in a place of wellness. That's what that means to me.
Awesome. Shabnam, how about you?
I'm going to build on what Jacob and Mary already said. For me, what we have been living for the past hundreds of years is not our normal state of being. I think our normal quote unquote state of being is when we are connected to our heart. And for the past hundreds of years, we have been experiencing more and more of a disconnection, not only to our heart center and to our essence, to who we really are and to our natural state, but also within each other, to people, to our families, to nature, to animals, and to living a healthy and balanced life where we can come into our full potential. I think, like Jacob said, it's not about going back to a normal, it's about moving forward and creating something new, which is healthier and more balanced, as Mary said, and gives people the chance to really live from their heart and live a life full of passion. That's, for me, would be the normal.
Awesome. Roman, what about you? What is your normal?
Well, my normal is healthy people, energized to maximum, living out of love, out of heart, as Shapam said it, and just not afraid of anything, of any viruses, of any official narratives. They're not afraid of governments, of police. They're just living out of love, support each other, accept each other the way they are, and just living conscious life. Doing everything consciously, loving everyone, loving yourself, being good to each other, to yourself, and to people. and and of course healthy eating, fruitarian eating. This is what the way I see it.
That's amazing.
Love it.
So this next round, this next question, I'm going to open to the floor, and you guys can answer. You can just pop in and just answer as you will. So, what tools would you guys use to help reset yourself?
Many. I think it has to be a mixture of many different things. I don't think you can just rely on one thing to sort of reset yourself, because it involves your mind, it involves your body, it involves your soul, it involves your health. All these kind of things play into it, and it's really about taking care of yourself. And as I think everyone would agree on this call here, that's how to reset.
100%. I don't think it's a one thing. I don't think it's a one thing. When I had to think about it, it would be depending where the person is, where they are in their life, and then applying the right tools for that moment, I think.
Okay, if I can add to that, and that's the challenge. There are so many tools out there, and some of them work better than others for certain individuals, depending on where they're at and their personal challenges. So that's why it's helpful sometimes to have, external support to help you assess exactly where you're at and to explore all the different tools and be able to try different things to add to your routine. And funny enough, this is a bit of an oxymoron, but routines sometimes need to be changed once in a while. So if you're doing your yoga every morning or your breathing exercise every morning, and after a little while, you might need to just tweak that a little bit so you keep it interesting without it becoming boring, so you continue to do it, because you have to maintain that interest, because change is the spice of life. So we need a little bit, but we do need to keep that routine for self-care. And I think that's really the part that most of us, or a lot of people, have lost, the importance of self-care and what that actually looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think self-time, self-esteem, and people need to, for me, it's the main tool, If you spend time on yourself, whenever the tools which you choose, you just need to dedicate time to yourself. I saw so many people now in modern society who just say we're too busy to do something to improve themselves. And I think the main thing, just love yourself more and spend time on yourself to improve yourself, not on watching Netflix, not on anything else. For me, the best tool is just dedicate yourself early morning or in the evening outside of your daily job, daily activities. Just spend time to meditate, to improve your energy, your vibrations. And this is the tool I personally use. Just by being positively selfish.
That's amazing, guys. A lot of good tips there. Marie, how would you implement some tools for your clients to help them, reset themselves?
How would I implement? Well, I think the first thing, going back to what Jacob had mentioned earlier, is doing a thorough assessment, understanding of what the individual's issues and the problems that they're trying to deal with at first, and also understanding their lifestyle. So if you have a busy professional woman with 3 little kids at home that right now can't go to school, well, the tips are going to be very different than if I'm dealing with, a single 20-year-old guy that's got all his space and likes to party all night and sleep until noon. So so I think the keys, the tools are the same, but understanding their lifestyle and their personal needs. And then it's working with them to see how can we, where can you put time for yourself? What are the good pockets of time where you can actually set time aside for yourself? And what are the things that you like? And I think what's really key is, you can't force this stuff. You actually have to enjoy what you're doing, whether it's a yoga practice or a breathing technique or the different diet changes that you'll implement that will feed your body. Because if you hate it, you're not going to stick to it. And that actually creates more stress for yourself. So sometimes for people who want to start putting some variety in their diet, if they start going extreme and trying to cut out everything at once, let's say cut out all bread, all processed, all sugar, they're going to have a meltdown. And within a week, they can't do it. It's too stressful. And so that's why it's really important to go, a little bit at a time, one step at a time. Funny word called titration, just a little bit at a time. Keep it simple, keep it easy. And then you have to make sure they enjoy that activity. Otherwise, they won't stick to it. So
Awesome.
That's how I approach it.
Awesome. How about you, Jacob?
Yeah, it's what Mary said. It's building habits little by little. I also don't like. I think the body doesn't like extremes, so I agree 100%. And just little things, and as everybody is different and individual, I think I give them the toolbox to choose from. So they really like what they pick. They need to know how it works. So I explain the stuff, how it works, and then based on their profile, I recommend things. And then they have a space to try and play with that and assemble their own toolbox and use it for their balance. I call it balanced lifestyle because I want them to use the tools for at least for not for the rest of the life, but for the time that they need them to use. So it's creating habit and sticking with it. If it's just one thing, if it's just you drink coffee 5 times a week, you're gonna drink it once a week. That's a big change. And then adding something on the health side, and that's building, for example, for the body, creating routines and sticking with mindfulness for the mind, learning how to deal with people, energies, how to create boundaries and stuff, how to self-love, one little thing at a time. And once that is mastered, then you can add another one.
Amazing. Roman, how would you help implement tools to help get people back to their whatever normal it is?
Yeah, I cannot agree more than Mary and Jacob. They basically said it all. I felt exactly the same thing, that people need to like what they do. You have to force yourself. I know from my fruitarian transition, it was hard for me. You shouldn't struggle with yourself. It always leads to failure. It's a perfect recipe. So you need to find something, do it gradually, like change, like small step every day is better than a big step immediately one gap and then you lose it all. So you have to find the balance, as you said it. I would also show them the results. I mean, the result for me, for instance, they're human with better skin, less time sleeping. So I read more books, I do more sports, so I have more time for my businesses, various projects. So if you show people which results they're actually going to be coming to with your program, maybe it can be motivating for them. For instance, when I buy a digital course, I recently bought a digital course from Robert Kiyosaki, about the real estate development. I love Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the fact that he achieved these results for me is a motivation to buy his digital product because I saw the final result and I'm ready to put in the hours of work at night, any day, all day. So, I mean, for me, with the toolkit for my people who like to go transition to their lifestyle, have more energy, is to show them in advance the amazing results they can get and the easiness. It's so easy to transition. So if people are motivated by what they're going to get, if you see where you're going, your goal, you're going to be more motivated to invest your time to achieving this goal. And of course, as Marie and Jacob said, do it gradually by finding balance. You cannot just break your machine, break your body, and just go like one day at a time. It doesn't work this way. I knew it so definitely taking it easy, but showing the final, let's say, the reward. So showing the reward can be easy, like the Schwarzenegger did. When Schwarzenegger walked out, every rep was like you're getting stronger, It's a different mindset than if you say yourself, no, it's so hard. I'm not going to gym because it's too hard. My muscles just ache. It's not motivation. So giving people the proper motivation for me can be the right toolkit.
Thanks, Roman. Something weird going on with your mic. We heard what you said, but it was a little bit low. So,
okay, if you want me to repeat, you tell me. I can get closer to my computer. I can repeat.
No, it's good. Just moving forward. Just make sure that that we can you're a little bit closer so we can hear you.
Okay.
Shabnam, how about you? How would you help your clients help get them back to normal?
So a lot of things that everybody has said would also apply for me in terms of implementing tools or new routines. It's really about figuring out where the individual person is at, what their current issues are, what problems they have, and then to make a new routine for them. Coming from the yoga perspective, it's also really important if you start doing yoga with people that you don't overstimulate them or give them too much to do in the beginning, because already something simple like just learning to breathe into your stomach can be really hard for a lot of people. And it's really important to take them step by step through all the levels. And yes, in one way, it's important to sort of keep it simple and easy, but it's also, I think, fundamental to stress to the clients or the people that I work with that it takes time to create a habit. So they to learn to have the courage and to be persistent and to be consistent with the practice, because it takes about 60 to 120 days to implement a new habit. And if you kind of stop before that, you're not going to make the change. So it's also about motivating my students to just stick with it and to believe and to trust that this is the right path. And for me, I also try to stress that it's not always about the end goal, that it's actually more about the path, the journey that you're taking, that will already create a lot of change in you and will create a better feeling or whatever you're looking for. So that's what I would like to add on top of everything everybody else said.
Awesome. There's actually an interesting question that just popped up in the chat. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. What are you guys' thoughts on water cleansing or fasting diet? From Jeff Leninger. Sorry, I butchered that last name.
Who wants to start?
Whoever wants to start, go right ahead. Just pop in and just give us your thoughts.
Water fasting and what was the other one? Juice fasting?
Fasting and water cleansing.
Water cleansing. Well, hydrating helps everybody, so I think that's one good thing, depending on what kind of water, because we are living in a contaminated world. So I don't think hydration makes any issue when it comes to drinking more, but when it comes to the fasting, I think it can, if we speak about the extremes, then it shouldn't go into one day in a week or maybe one day in a month. I think that could do some good. But if it's starving the body, if it's something that's too extreme, I think I have not done water fasting myself, and I don't think it was needed, and I think I was in a pretty bad shape. So, but I believe that it can help people to kickstart or give the organism a space for healing. So I think that's what I would call it. But never go to the extreme that the body doesn't have anything to work with. I think that's not healthy.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think dry fasting in case of vegetarianism and people who just got rid through this such called hunger, because the real hunger comes after 2 or 3 days of not eating. We're capable of not eating during 10 days. So I agree with what Jacob said. No extremes. If you're not used to, if you don't know how to start fasting, whatever it is, water fasting or dry fasting or juice fasting, there are many types of fasts that I did, and it always been an amazing experience. For me, the best fasting, it's the dry fasting when you don't eat anything. But you have to know how to start it and how to finish it. You have to take some advice from someone who did it before, and you follow it. You don't do it on yourself. If you never done it, don't do it. I mean, don't go through like 1 day of non-eating. If you have never done it before, you're gonna feel bad. You're gonna feel so bad. It's gonna be violent. It's gonna be violent. So for me, dry fasting is the most efficient, but only after practicing it for a while, after taking advice of a good nutritionist or of someone who's a specialist in this.
Yeah, and I think I have to agree with Roman that if you're going to try water fasting or any kind of fasting, you should have some professionals around you, especially with the water fasting. If you decide to do that, you should be in a center where there's a doctor checking your blood every day, checking up on you, how you're feeling. All these things are very important because it can be very dangerous. It is a very extreme practice, but for some people it's really good, and it actually kickstarts their immune system, kickstarts the whole health mechanism. But I would always say be with professionals that help you and go with you every step until you become a professional yourself.
Marie, what are your thoughts?
Well, I haven't actually ever done the fasting, to be honest, but I've read that some people have had some really good results with it. I know of a handful of people that are in my circle of friends that have done it, but what they've been doing, I think, is more intermittent fasting. So they basically don't eat anything for a certain period of time, and they do that daily. So let's say they have a window of let's say 14 hours where they don't eat and drink, and then they have a smaller window. So, and I guess that gives the body a break because digesting is work on the body. So that just gives the body a chance to heal rather than doing all the digesting. So I think that may be a milder version than doing a hardcore 24, 48, 72 hour, whether of dry or water fasting. But these are impressions and stories or accounts from people in my circle. I personally haven't done it. So it's hard to have an opinion when you haven't gone through it yourself. So that's just what I've seen and heard.
All right, cool. So switching gears a little bit, want to continue here and ask you guys, crafting new routines. How do you guys go about creating new routines in your life? This is an open question to you guys.
Little by little, what I said about the habits, that's it worked for me. That's the same thing that I recommend people to do, to throw in a little piece that I want to work with, that I know I need at this moment of my life, and adding it every day or making it a habit. I think that's the best way to create something as a routine. But the routine can change over time as the needs are changing. So just going with that little step, adding one thing, removing one thing, trying practice and trying to fall with the tool that we need to use. So I feel that's one at a time and little piece.
Awesome.
So when I kind of create routines, I'm very much in my feminine energy, and I have never worked well with rules or strategies or anything like that. So I kind of have a toolbox with all these practices that I know and these things I've accumulated over the years that I know work for me, and I go day by day. So I wake up in the morning, I kind of check in with myself, and I feel, okay, do I feel like doing a longer meditation today? Is it the asana practice that I want to do more of? Do I want to chant? What do I want to focus on today? So for me, it's a very organic process and a very flexible process. I have the toolbox that is kind of set. I know what I need to do. And obviously that's taken a journey to get there. And you have to try out different things and be consistent with them until you have your own practice. But once you have that, you can be, in my opinion, very flexible about it. Because I think as soon as you get too rigid, it puts you in a cage, and your freedom to express yourself is lost. So that's kind of how I deal with setting up routines or working with my tools. Or it's very organic, very feminine.
Nice. I really appreciate that, Shabnam. Maybe I need to add a little bit more of that feminine energy into my routine in the morning. But what I've done for myself is I know that mornings is my prime time, and I know that if I don't start my morning, the rest of my day won't go right. So I can't say always, but for the past number of years, I've always taken the first hour in the morning for my self-care, whether that's a yoga practice, whether that's a breathing practice, meditation, journaling. And so back to what Shabnam has said, whatever my toolbox that I have, based on the needs that I have, I'll pull it out. So for a while I was doing Wim Hof breathing earlier in the year to get my energy up and to get myself focused so I could work through a number of different challenges. And now recently I'm finding that my brain is just overactive. So I'm having that monkey brain. So I've changed that up to do more of the scripting and the journaling in the morning to try to kind of drain everything to allow my mind to focus and be clear so I can start my day and actually get to the work that I need to accomplish. So I think it's just for me, and I think for a lot of people who are extremely busy, especially professionals with really busy careers, it's making sure that you make that time for yourself sacred, whether that's first thing in the morning, at the end of the day, or other folks like to take lunch midday to help refocus themselves. So just make sure that you take that time for yourself, and it doesn't matter what you do during that period of time. You can pull from that toolbox, but make sure that time is for you and you don't give that up.
Yeah, I totally agree with Mary. I couldn't have said it better. I always try to dedicate time to myself over the first hour in the morning, like you do. This is why I love to wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. every morning, because actually it's before going to job or before starting anything, before 8 o'clock. You can work out. So I work out. I do things that I basically don't want because I found my passions. I know my goals. I know what I want to be more fit. I want to explore, go through my limits and beyond them. And every day I don't force myself, but I obligate myself as a discipline, to do things that I don't want. I didn't want to do 120 push-ups. Well, I did them. I didn't want to do flexions. I did them. I did have 30 minutes gymnastics this morning. I do every morning. And I did take cold shower. It's comfortable to take warmer shower, but I don't. I mean, I know what is better for me, and knowing that something is more useful for you, you accept that. And when the first thing you don't want to do it, then you get used to it. Then it becomes your habit. Then you like it. You love what you didn't want to do, what you hated to do before, because you know it's good for you. So this is what I do to create my morning routines, like finding my passions and just stick to them, stick to that discipline. Even if you don't like something, no matter how you feel, how bad you feel, how much coffee you want to drink. No, I drink my lemon juice. I don't drink coffee. So just focusing on the good things that it gives you and stick to that. No matter what it takes, just stick to that, because it's only hard at the beginning. after you get used to this, and it's becoming a habit. It's becoming a subconscious thing, becoming a subconscious habit.
That's awesome.
That's
So
awesome.
what do you guys deem as a routine that is not useful, and what would be the steps for you to remove those useless routines?
Drinking coffee every day.
Don't do that to me, Jacob. Don't. That's not.
Get aware of
that's
him. Get aware of him.
Jacob,
I already had it. Yeah, I had it.
Jacob, that's not useless.
Sorry, I'm an addict, I guess.
It's cool. I drink it from time to time. Also, it's not a problem.
But you cannot even enjoy it if you have it every day. How could you enjoy it? I love coffee. I'm not saying I'm drinking it. Don't get me wrong. I love coffee, and I used to drink it every day as well. I used to like croissants and stuff in the morning as well with all of that.
Oh, yeah.
But then
I'm French, so you know my attitude. I'm French. In France, we do have croissants normally, especially they're so good. When you go like alongside the boulangerie, like it's really the smell. But now, I mean, I got myself used to lemon juice, and because it's better, it makes me younger. And this is why I just can't get rid of it. But I mean, yeah, it's a bad habit or a good habit if you think that it is a good. I mean, everyone defines for itself, But
Yeah,
the motivation. Yeah.
at some point in people's life, actually, coffee every day might be a good habit. But we shouldn't be addicted to anything, or nothing should be dictating us what our freedom is. Like once it starts taking our freedom away, then it's obviously not a good habit. So if it gives you freedom, it's a good habit. If it takes your freedom away, if it makes it that you need it, you have to have it, you're addicted to it, then I don't think it's a good habit. So, but I think every habit at some point is like doing something, practicing something daily. So it keeps you at least practicing daily. If I want to see the positive side of it, even the coffee thing. But no, I just said it. The coffee, John, it's not gonna do it for you.
So I had this really bad habit, and I still sometimes have it, is waking up in the morning and taking out my phone and looking at my social media or checking my emails or doing stuff like that. And I think it's a terrible way to start the day. I start immediately on a much lower frequency. I'm immediately on a screen looking at the blue light. It's just not very healthy. And to change that habit, I actually had to raise awareness and make myself very conscious about the difference of when I get up in the morning, look at my phone, or if I get up in the morning, have my hot drink, get on my yoga mat, do my meditation, do all those things. And then maybe after breakfast, I start checking my emails and stuff. And it sets a whole different tone for the day, and to become conscious of that, and then to gradually change it. And also not to be mad at you if you slip. I mean, we're just human. I still have moments where I still pick up the phone, I'm not feeling too well. And that's the first thing I do. And then I remember, oh shit, it's actually making me start on a very low frequency. I prefer the other one. And it's constant work. You just have to always readjust, realign, and just have this this consciousness about what is good for you, and try to improve that and try to learn that every day.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, I love what Shabnam said. I think key is understanding what's good for you and what isn't. And so, and we're all a little bit different, right? So for some of us, coffee is really bad. For others, tolerate it better. But I think social media, though, is bad for everybody, including the news, especially these days. And so trying to get away from that very negative, low vibration energy, especially first thing in the morning, because it does set your day off tracks. So awareness, I think, is key for people to realize what they're doing, because sometimes those habits have just become exactly that, habits for 10, 15, 20 years, and you don't even realize you do it. And so awareness is key. Education is key to understand the importance of changing and the impacts of what they're doing on their lives, on their energy, on their thought patterns. And with that knowledge, you can actually change it. And then you get motivation to change it because you understand what it's actually doing to you. So I think those elements are key to be able to change those bad habits.
Yep.
Also, throwing the TV out of the window can do a great job for everybody.
Just make sure there's nobody on the sidewalk.
Or you can keep it as a screen for watching your drone movies, or that's what I do, I kept it, but never watching TV. You're never using actually smartphone to call, but using for some other purposes. And the same with TV,
Good.
That's awesome. We actually touched up on the next question, which was how would you guys deem a routine that is useful? Oh, actually, we didn't touch up on that. So how would you guys how would you help someone deem that a routine is useful to their own development?
I think that's very individual. You have to really take a look at the person, and you need to know where they are at their time and space, what they need at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. That's about right that Jacob said. I mean, you have to analyze the person, talk to him, ask him what he wants, like consciously. It's the same with bad habits. You need to get aware. So person needs to get aware what she wants and then define the good routine. How you can define it by really analyzing deeply the person, you know? I mean, what I mean by analyzing, just trying to define it with him, with the person or with her, but just trying to see it consciously without any, you know, any background, any obstacles, just with mental clarity. I think this is the only way. Everyone needs to know what is good for you, and for that, only you can decide. I mean, I cannot decide for John or for Jacob what is good for them. So for someone, one thing is good, coffee is good. For other one, it's bad. So you need to decide for yourself, and depending on what you've decided, you can define what is the good habit, you know, for it.
I think it's a lot about helping people and guiding and supporting them in raising their awareness and also leading by example. So if you're doing something that's good and you talk about it to people and they sort of see the effect on you and how it's changed you, then they might get interested and find out for themselves. I think that's one way. And the other way is to make it really really visible to them. For example, if someone is saying like, oh, I don't have money to spend on a yoga class, or I don't have money to spend on this, get their bank statement out and see all the crap that they're spending money on and make it really visible to them. And then you can help raise their awareness. And then maybe they go like, oh yeah, maybe I should spend my money on something different. It's just an example. But it's all about creating that awareness, helping them, and not being non-judgmental at the same time, like not judging them for it, but just being that guide and that supporting function, I guess, to help them see what they could do better for themselves if they want to do that.
Right. And if I could just add to that, John, I think, you know, again, you can't really say one thing is bad versus another, but it's really the awareness, like Shabnam was saying, to say, what does this actually bring to me? Am I getting out of this routine? So, you know, running may not be a bad thing, but if someone's been pushing themselves to run, they're injuring their knees, they hate it, and that actually causes more stress in their body than you know, the health benefits of getting circulation going, getting some, you know, breathing in fresh air, then that's actually not a good habit. Maybe they need to look at something gentler that their body is going to enjoy more and work towards. Like, for example, okay, we talked about coffee. Let's pick on my habit. You know, what does that bring me? It brings me that comfort and, you know, like brightens me up in the morning, but that's my selfish me time. Like that's my joy. That's my treat. Could I probably change it for something better? Sure. But is it the worst thing in the world? Probably not. So, you know, it's all about balance and saying, what does it bring you as an individual? And some people are more sensitive to caffeine than others too. So everyone said it. Everything is very individual, but I think it's helping that person be aware and seeing how they react to that and what it brings to their life. But the key is doing things that does not add stress to your nervous system. So forcing things into your body or doing things that you don't enjoy is not the way to go.
Awesome. Very, very insightful. Very insightful. Thank you, everybody. So the next topic that we're going to be switching gears will be dealing with busy schedules. And I know you four personally, well, not personally, but I've known you guys very close for the past 3 or 4, 6 months almost. And we all have like crazy busy schedules. So I want to know from you guys, how do you guys deal with your busy schedules?
I'm happy to hear some advices here. I'm happy to hear the last.
You know, right? Well, I think back to what Roman was saying, you know, is making sure you put that time aside for yourself and stick to that every day. So that's the first part of that routine. But you also need to make it manageable. For me, an hour in the morning works because otherwise my day goes like this. But for some others, it's easier to add 10 to 15 minutes at a time. So for, you know, like my busy professional clients, I usually tell them, if you can only do 15 minutes in the morning, because you got your kids to get up and do all the lunches, and then you got to get on conference calls at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you don't want to start getting up at 4, I get it. So take that 15 minutes for yourself to either do a quick meditation or a quick yoga routine or whatever it is that fulfills you in the morning. And then midday, take your, weekly conference call outside. We all have phones. We've got our headsets. Go for a walk while you're attending that call. You're still getting some movement. You're getting some fresh air. And so I think we need to change the way we think, especially for folks who are professionals that are used to sitting behind a computer like we're all doing now for 8 or 10 hours a day, is to add movement and awareness and they can change that up during the day. Like now that most of us are working remote or have the ability to, is there are things that you can incorporate in your day, whether it's during your lunch break or, like I said, during a meeting, taking a call, walking outside. You can add little bits of movement and self-care in the middle of the day as well. So it doesn't have to be a big chunk of time. If you have it, that's great. But if you don't, adding those 10, 15 minutes, 3, 4, 5 times a day can have a huge impact on your well-being at the end of the day, because it all adds up. It doesn't matter how that hour or hour and a half gets broken up. So that's how I've been approaching it. And it seems to work well for people.
Cool.
And I think that's a great way, Mary, absolutely. And I think another fundamental thing is to make it a priority, because if you're not functioning, if you're not healthy, if you don't have the energy, you're not going to be able to take care of your kids, of your house, of your job, of your team, of your dog. I don't know, whatever you have to do in your life, you're not going to be able to function. So your health and your time has to become a priority. And then obviously I love the way how you were explaining it, Mary. You can sort of split it up during the day. Find 5 minutes here, find 5 minutes there, but make it a priority to have some you time and some self-care every day. Because if you break down, there's nothing you can do for nobody. So it has to be a priority in some way. I mean, it doesn't have to take up 3 hours a day. Some people have that luxury and some don't. But it can be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just to sit and breathe for 5 minutes. It does wonders. It does wonders. It's amazing. It's so simple, and you can do it basically anywhere. So.
Yeah, once again, you couldn't have said better. I'm glad we're an amazing team, amazing people here today. Totally agree with Shaham, Ms. Mary. Yeah, you get to I find time because I wake up early, and actually my fruitarian diet, lifestyle, they call it, they actually contributed to that I digest less, so I can sleep less. I can sleep 4 or 3 hours sometimes. Sometimes I sleep 5 or even 8 hours, depending on how tired I am. If I work out like 3 hours or 2 hours per day, I sleep more. But what I mean by that is I actually created time. I stole time. I didn't have time, but I tried to modify my daily morning routines by waking up earlier to insert that time. I found it. The same with going to bed later. And why I need it? I need it to make my morning meditation. The first thing I do when I go out from my bed, I meditate. I express gratitude for what I have and for what I will have soon, because I already have it in my reality inside. And this is something that motivates me to wake up. So I actually found, as Shafram said, I found a party. I found something which motivates me, which gives me a reason to do it, to steal time, to find. I don't have time because I have many businesses to run, but I still find it because I steal it. I create time. So if you're really motivated, if it's a party for you, if you like, to have some 5 minutes for yourself, in the afternoon, in the morning, and no matter which time. So you will create this time. I think everyone, even the president of a big country, can find time if they think that is good for them, if it makes them feel good. We always find time for something which we makes us feel good. Well, we should find this time if they're motivated. If it's something which makes them vibrate at higher frequency. So definitely, all what you said, finding 5 or 10, it doesn't have to be a long time, but if you still do a 5-minute meditation on positivity, on joy, it will at any time of the day, it will make you feel way better. So stealing time, finding time, it's a great thing to deal with the busy schedule.
Thank you, Roman. Jacob, how about you?
I have learned so much, so I'm gonna stay there. I'm thinking about becoming a fruitarian, and I'm flexible with my time, so I always try to find going with my intuition when I feel like I just need to walk, or I don't put it in. I do morning routines normally, but I also give myself that that's the only way to do it. I can find my time during the day as well. I have installed the bar on the patio. I have moved in a new place, so I think that helps me a lot also, just to go out in a little outdoor space and keep doing a little workout. So I'm happy with that. I think that's going to help out big time as well.
Nice. So Shabnam, I'm gonna pick on you a little bit here. What's your favorite way to plan your day? And do you actually plan your day ahead of time?
No, I don't. Well, half sort of. Like I'm really very organic with everything I do, and sometimes I think a little more structure wouldn't be too bad, and a little more strategy. But I guess I always have the ideas of what I need to do. What am I working on currently? I have my book sitting next to me. I have my projects, and then I kind of go by feel and I know it's not possible for people, for example, working in a corporate environment. You need a much more structured way of life. But me being a yoga teacher, I'm actually quite free to plan my day as I want. And it's literally getting up in the morning and seeing like, okay, do I have any priorities? Is there any deadlines? What do I need to do first to get that done? And then it's more about, okay, what would I like to do next? What would I like to work on next? But I've always been like that because maybe I even have attention deficit disorder. I hate that word. I don't want to label myself, but if I would in this world, and it's positive for me because it makes me be able to do many things at the same time. I kind of get bored after half an hour, so I need to do something different. But it's always the five things I'm doing. So stuff gets done, I guess, that way for me. But it's a very individualistic way. Some people need structure and planning and, setting up a whole timetable for the week. And that really helps. And maybe it's something I should try sometime. I don't know.
Roman, how about you? Do you plan out your day? And what's your favorite way if you do?
I actually try to define priorities. I define priorities of my day, what I have to do, what are the goals for the day. I don't plan it. I'm more like Chapman. I mean, I like function organically too, but I have like a core structure, like core structure according to which I have some goals to achieve per day. Like I need to learn 20 words of Chinese every day, 20 words of Hindi every day. So I'm going to learn it no matter what. But I'm flexible. I'm like Jacob also. I can do some training in the afternoon or in the morning. So I try to give myself time, and unless there is an emergency in some project, but normally there isn't. So I'm flexible. I'm trying to organize myself according to the priorities, and it's not a rigid structure for the day because I don't have to. I'm not working into multinational company right now, so I don't need this extra organized lifestyle. Just what I need to do, and I have freedom of how I do it, but I need to do it.
Awesome. What about you, Marie?
Well, I'm a project manager by trade and education. So I'm a planner for the most part. But I think now not being in a corporate environment anymore, my day is much more fluid, but certainly, I get up in the morning or even the previous evening. It's like, what do I need to accomplish or what are my goals for tomorrow? And again, back to prioritization. And I do know I'm a morning person. And so I'm focused. I can bang stuff out in the morning. So I try to keep my mornings a little bit more rigid is not the right word, but the harder tasks, the more challenging or more important things, I try to get those done in the morning. And then I let the afternoon be a little bit more fluid with everything else. But again, I think you're hearing everyone's very different. And so we all need to find our groove and what works best for us.
Well, that's the whole reason why I got such a mix of people. It's different strategies and, tips and tricks. Jacob, how about you? How do you plan out your day if you do plan your day?
Actually, I don't plan. I'm very much like Shabnam. I just, and it's funny because even in the corporate world where I used to run a company, a big company, international company, and we had to have routines. But even in that, within the company, I was jumping from one task to another because I could be very intense in 15, half an hour, 1 hour thing. And then I moved to a next environment where I was doing something completely different. Then I jump back in, respond to some important emails based on priorities, go back, do something different, speak with the client, call a factory. So it was very much different. And then we also built a gym in the next building. So we were able to have that flexibility. But now when I'm not anymore in the company, not anymore in a structured 9 to 5, and I always focus that I move one step a little further to where I want to be in the future. So like every day to move myself closer to the goal. So whatever task it is, what also helps me, morning meditation. Actually, when I do meditation, it's not about avoiding thoughts or I use meditation to sort out my thoughts. I invite all the thoughts to come my way and just source out the priorities. What is the most important thing? Sometimes I just got some messages popping in, like some ideas. I wake up with some ideas. So I try to always listen to what what the spirit or what the universe brought me that day. Try to focus on that if it's an important message, and that's usually what is a priority that day. And if not, then I'm focusing on just moving towards my goals a little by little, doing one more little thing, or one connection here, one connection there. But I'm very much unstructured, so I still stick with some things in my day, like a meditation, yoga, but it doesn't necessarily have to have the morning. If it has the morning, has the morning, but sometimes I do different things in the morning, and then I come back to the routine during the day. So I don't know if somebody can get something out of this.
I can. I basically the same. Yeah, I can get out of this. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have flexibility with meditation and do it in the afternoon, not only in the morning. I mean, I do it in the morning, but sometimes I also want to do it in the afternoon and in the evening. I mean, you don't have to. Your routine has to be flexible, even if it's a good habit.
Well, you have 4 or 5 more hours than me, Roman. So you have time to do it. You know, I'm a normal human being, so for me, less.
I'm just a little man. I'm more than normal. You know, it's just the normal. The definition of normal is different for everyone. You know, and I found a new normal.
Inspiration. You're an inspiration for me. I need those 5 more hours. I'll be a monster.
I think we all need those extra 5 hours.
That was the goal.
So, Roman, how would you help someone organize their own life?
How would I have to organize their own life? I mean, how would I have to advise them how to organize their own life?
Yeah, how would you advise somebody to help them plan out their day, for example?
Just, I mean, take a little bit of all of us. You have to be structured. It depends what's work best with these people. For instance, if they're more morning people or evening people, I mean, depends when are they more, the brain is more active. So first of all, see what are these people, what are they, how do they function, and then according to their functioning, just advise them, for instance, to be more active, to wake up a bit earlier, or for instance, first of all, I would advise them to define what they want to do. What are the goals of the day? Don't live your life just you are in a river of flow, and you don't care. You go to work 9 to 5. Even outside the work, you can still plan your day. And I definitely would advise first off, just to define your daily goals. Start defining little by little every step. For instance, you have a big goal in your life, a year goal, for instance, learning Chinese, and you want to learn Chinese in 3 months, for instance, and you learn like 10 words per day. That's just an example, silly example, but you just learn these 10 words every day. And for instance, you have better brain activity in the morning. So I would advise those people, you learn your 10 words in the morning. This is what I would do. I mean, just trying to do these little steps, but have your daily goals. You need to have your daily goals, and the way of doing or achieving these daily goals can be flexible, depending on how your brain works and what is your lifestyle. Well, and various factors actually. But my advice would be to organize your life. Just define your goals and stick to them. And day by day, it doesn't have to be a big. You don't have to learn 50 words. You can do 5 words, something, but do it realistically. What you can do, but define them and see what is the best time of the day to do it.
Awesome. Shabnam, how about you?
Good question. Yeah, I would. I guess what Roman says really makes sense is to define your goals. If you were going to do it very structured, to see what is a long-term goal, what's a 5-year goal, what's a 1-year goal, what's the goal for the day, and then make little steps towards each of that every day if you can, but also not to be too hard on yourself and not to be too rigid, because I hate to-do lists. I wouldn't advise anybody to make a to-do list, because to-do lists, they just get longer. They never get finished. They're incredibly frustrating. And to find a different way to kind of be able to deal with the tasks that you have. I've read a lot about the bullet journal. I haven't actually done it yet, but I have the book here. It's going to help me get more organized. And it's basically not working with to-do lists. It's sort of a different structure that doesn't frustrate you, but just keeps you motivated. I think that's also very important to consider when you structure your day, that you don't put too many tasks, but you get the important stuff done and you set your priorities.
Awesome. Jacob, how would you do it?
Well, I resonate what Roman says. I would just say to the goals that I think I try also not to associate with those goals that they have to be the final thing, because life always changes, and sometimes it can like if you attach to the goal, sometimes you can get disappointed when you don't get there. I think realizing that we are on that journey. So just having the goal is basically giving you the space in time to work on the things that you need to work on, to learn the things that you need to learn. And when it comes to structuring somebody else's life, I would say. Again, it's very individual. I would have to know more about the person, about where we want to go, what their pain is, and what is the most effective. I'm looking at what's the most effective tool that I know of, and then if they're gonna like it, if they can implement it, if they can stick with it. So I think that would be my approach.
Cool, Marie. From the planner.
There's really great answers from everyone. I would probably, and again, we've said everyone's very individualistic, and so we really have to work with that person, their life, their strong points, and what they want to address on the best way to, help them schedule their day. And so I think everybody else here have already had great answers. I don't have anything else to add.
Oh, great. Oh, really? Okay.
Otherwise, I'm just repeating what they've said, because I completely agree with what everyone has said, and what may be true for Shabnam, who's more in the flow versus rigid project manager. Trying to put my way of plan my day onto Shabnam would be horrible. So it's working with each individual to understand themselves, their priorities, their goals, how they work, and how much structure they need to get to where they want to be. And so that's the problem. Well, there's no one magic bullet. There's no one single answer. And that's where I think everyone needs to be able to take a step back and look at themselves and get back in touch with themselves, because that's the best way to move forward.
Awesome. So we're going to be closing it up soon. So I'm just going to open up the floor to everybody here. So whoever wants to just drop in a question. If you guys are watching, just drop in a question, or even for my guests too. If you guys want to talk about anything that we discussed and go deeper into it, feel free to do so. Crickets.
No questions. I guess we must have killed it.
I'm sorry, I had to run to close the door. It was too much noise. I didn't listen to. I thought there was questions. If somebody has any questions, so I'm happy to answer.
Anything that else you guys want to talk about that we discussed? You want to go further into it? Go right ahead.
Well, actually, I would mind talking about, since we have a few minutes left, what has everyone here done to help themselves, or maybe some of their challenges too, because, this pandemic across the world that's been raging through the past 6 months has brought a whole bunch of challenges for everyone across the world, not just financially, but also on the mental health front. And so I guess, what would people here recommend for folks who are listening and for each other, what your tricks and what you have done to be able to help address this extra mental health challenge and these extra pressures that we've all been getting on an international level, which is not something that we've had, at least in our generation, for a long, long time.
Well, if I can say something, I feel like would help, because I'm very much a mental person. So I think I have been already struggling with my thoughts and with my way of being. So I feel a lot of the pressure and stress comes from personal perspective. So if you are able to shift that perspective, I think you can get rid of a lot of that stress and all that stuff. Obviously, if you're struggling with finances and stuff, there are always things to do that we can do. I feel we can always go more minimalist. We can get rid of stuff. We can move to another country. So I would say listening, connecting very much with our intuition, trying to ask the universe, where should we be, what we should do, because everybody in this situation could be in a very different place. So I'm always trying to see where should I be, and my vision for the future aligning with the vision for the future that I have, which might be wrong. So like, what do you see in the future might be coming up, and then trying to align it. For me, the future is very different from where we're living. I don't see money in the future anymore. I feel that the monetary system might even crumble completely. So being useful, having valuable skills, being more independent, more sustainable, things that can give you peace, no matter what happens, because we are dependent on things. So I think if we are able to get more independent, I think that can give you a lot of peace, and you don't feel that pressure and struggle and the things where we are interconnected with the system and all the stuff, which might be a little bit of a gardening, maybe moving to another country where there is more agriculture around you. I mean, people can do a lot of things, but you need to feel it inside, and you need to be dedicated and free to be able to make that move as well, because it's a big decision.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been a really tough time, and I think even us who've been maybe having our practices for some time, me with my yoga and my meditation, I'm not sort of exempt from sort of my shadow sides coming up or having to do shadow work. And I feel like this whole global situation, so on a macro level, there's so much happening, there's so much energy moving, there's so much rebellion and things that have been kept secret, they have room to come up now, and most of those things aren't very pretty, but they're so important for us to go through that change. And it's the same on the micro level. And I love using this picture. Some of you might already know it. But it's the most beautiful picture. So a lotus flower is a beautiful flower, but it literally it grows in a swamp, and it has to go through the mud and through all the yuck and the gross things, and it has to like wiggle its way up and fight, and then it comes out and it's this beautiful flower. And I feel like this is the time we're living in. All the stuff that has to be seen is coming up now to be seen, and it's happening on a personal level as well. And what I do in these kind of situations is I accept that my shadows are there. I accept that they're coming up, just like on a global level. All the stuff that I still need to deal with is coming up now. And for me, it really helps to retreat to nature, to spend a lot of time actually away from people, and to sit with my stuff, to really sit with it, and to start acting on it, to find ways that help me build a healthier life for myself. And then I can go out again and help people build a healthier life. And this sort of has a ripple effect. So yeah, it's tough, but I think it's important not to get frustrated, not to get demotivated, to find people to speak to. Being on this call has been amazing for me today, and just to keep the connection going.
Awesome.
Roman, any thoughts?
yeah, absolutely. I think what Jacob and Shabnam said was amazing. I totally agree, especially Shabnam. You should see the good things, the positivity. Because it's difficult for everyone. So you never complain. Try to find yourself, trying to find positivity in negative world. Never fall into fear, because the major problem, the issue that many people face right now is actually the official narrative. The news are so negative, it's so hard. There's a lot of negative background right now about the virus and pandemic in our future. I believe in extremely bright future, that everything is going to be really amazingly great, and we can create it every day by our thoughts. And we are amazing creatures, or we're like creatures with amazing powers, and we don't have to listen to all that the official authorities tell us. We're way bigger than that. So for me, it's realizing what they are more stronger, way bigger, more powerful. We have amazing powers. We can do anything, we can be anything. You can literally be as small as you think or as big as you think. So try to think yourself big, trying to find yourself, find the positivity, find love. Never forget who you really are. Don't fall into fear. Live out of love. Know that you are infinite consciousness and not just a body back, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Go into the bright future you create for yourself, one you choose with your heart, with your emotions, which actually corresponds, which vibrates with your inner self. So, and this is it. My main message: live out of love, no fear, work your ass off, and do the best. Take your game to the top. Take your game to the top. No matter what you do, try to do your best, and believe in love. There is universal love. So believe in love. You're stronger than you think you are.
Amazing. Thank you, Roman.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your input on that. That's great.
Well, if I could add something to all that, I think the last six months has actually shown us that we have how far we've shifted and how off to one side that we are. So this last 6 months for me was a place for me to find balance and figure out what truly matters. to me as an individual, and for me to be able to put my voice back out there because of my past. And I know most of you guys already know what my past has been. It hasn't been rainbows and gumdrops and lollipops and all that fun stuff. It's been dark. So to be able to come out of that darkness, like Shabnam said, like I had to go through that whole crap in order for me to come out. Not that way, but just come out and to be where I am right now. So to me, it's just finding that balance, and where do I draw the line where too much is too much? Like how much money is too much money? How much this is, how much work is too much work? And it's just trying to figure out where is it all set for me. And I think that's the most important thing that people right now had the opportunity to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And I think moving forward, I think this is the opportunity for them to really look inside and see, okay, where's my balance? Do I need $1 million, make $1 million a month? Maybe I do. Maybe I could take that $1 million and build a couple schools somewhere, or clean up some water systems somewhere, or maybe I don't need $1 million. Maybe I need $100 a month. So it's figuring out where is it right for me. So just wanted to
rethinking values. I think a lot of people are rethinking what the real values of life are, what we really need, what we are made of, what is human connection about. Obviously, they're trying to separate us as much as they can, but I think it brings us more closer. So whatever they're doing, I don't think it's working. I think we are here talking about this because of them. So
I think it's working, just not the way they want it to work.
yeah.
Nice.
Yes. Yes.
So I would like to extend a great thank you to all my guests for taking the time to come on today and to share your point of view of everything that we just talked about today, and to all the viewers for also tuning in. This will be an ongoing event happening monthly on every second Saturday. So tune in next month, where we're going to be talking about the harvest season and how to prepare yourself for the winter months ahead. Until then, I wish you all a really good month. Thank you to everybody for showing up. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Amazing job. Thank you, everyone. My pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. Very pleasurable to be here. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Such a beautiful group with beautiful people.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.